We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanzeeba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Six-year-old Palestinian-American boy is killed in anti-Muslim attack in Illinois, authorities say. Biden weighs Israel visit after Netanyahu extends invite amid Gaza war. Biden postpones trip to Colorado to discuss domestic agenda as the Israel-Hamas conflict intensifies. Several earthquakes shake far north coast region of California, but no harm reported. Susan Summers of Three's Company dies at 76. Netanyahu denies Egyptian sources' claim of ceasefire to allow Rafah border reopening. Hospitals in Gaza face collapse as water, power, and medicine run out. Israel military confirms 199 hostages abducted by Hamas. Australia fines Musk's X platform $386,000 over anti-child abuse gaps. Frankfurt Book Fair hit by Palestinian author Roe. BRICS Summit, China welcomes leaders of 130 countries. Australia beat Sri Lanka by 5 wickets in ICC World Cup 2023. South Africa beat France 29-28 to reach Rugby World Cup semi-finals. And IOC approves 5 additional sports for LA 2028 Olympics, including cricket. You are listening to headlines, now news in detail. A 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy was stabbed to death in his Illinois home by his landlord, who also critically wounded the boy's mother in an alleged anti-Muslim hate crime, police said Sunday, calling it a senseless and cowardly act of violence. Wadea al-Fahmy was stabbed 26 times at his Plainfield home by his landlord Joseph Chuba on Saturday, investigators said. He died at the hospital. His mother, Hannan Shaheen, was stabbed more than a dozen times, authorities said, adding that she is at a hospital and is expected to survive. Detectives were able to determine that both victims in this brutal attack were targeted by the suspect due to them being Muslim and the ongoing Middle Eastern conflict involving Hamas and the Israelis, the Will County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. Chuba was arrested and charged by the Will County Sheriff's Office after police say they determined he stabbed the child and the mother because they were Muslim and because of the ongoing situation in Israel. The brutal killing comes amid heightened tensions in the Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East and at a time when Muslim and Arab communities in the US are warning against hate toward their people stateside. President Joe Biden is considering a trip to Israel in the coming days, but no travel has been finalized as its military is carrying out daily bombardments of the besieged Palestinian enclave of Gaza, according to a senior U.S. administration official. The trip would come amid growing fears that a looming Israeli move into Gaza could spark a wider war with devastating humanitarian consequences. The Israeli bombardment of Gaza has already killed at least 2,750 Palestinians, and Biden's presence could be seen as a provocative move by Iran or potentially viewed as tone-deaf by Arab nations as civilian casualties mount in Gaza. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has already been traveling around the Middle East this past week trying to prevent the war with Hamas, the group that rules Gaza, from igniting a broader regional conflict. The official could not publicly discuss internal deliberations about the potential presidential travel and spoke on Sunday to the Associated Press news agency on condition of anonymity. President Joe Biden postponed a trip to Colorado on Monday to stay in Washington and focus on the growing conflict in the Middle East, setting aside an opportunity to pitch his economic accomplishments as he runs for re-election. The White House said Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris met with Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, Avril Haines, the National Intelligence Director, and Bill Burns, head of the Central Intelligence Agency. Chief of Staff Jeff Zients also attended. Biden planned to visit Representative Lauren Boebert's district, where he was to tour CS Wind, the world's largest facility for wind tower manufacturing. But the White House said just a few hours before Biden was set to take off for the trip that it would be rescheduled as Israel prepares a ground invasion of Gaza and humanitarian concerns worsen in the territory. The Democratic president is weighing a decision to visit Israel in what would be a striking symbol of support following the October 7 attack by Hamas that killed more than 1,400 Israelis. More than 2,300 Palestinians have died in the ensuing Israeli bombardment of Gaza. At least 30 U.S. citizens have also died and 13 remain missing, the State Department says. Several earthquakes shook the far northern coast region of California early Monday, but authorities received no reports of harm from the jolts. A magnitude 4.8 quake struck beneath the wilderness 33.7 miles south of the city of Eureka at 3:20 a.m., the U.S. Geological Survey said. It was followed by a magnitude 4.1 offshore quake at 3:31 a.m. about 18 miles west-southwest of Eureka, a port city roughly 225 miles north of San Francisco. Two smaller quakes also occurred on and offshore. There were no reports of damage or injuries from the morning's earthquake activity, said Samantha Curtis, public information officer for the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office. Humboldt County has about 136,000 residents and is in a part of the state that has a long history of large earthquakes, including a destructive magnitude 6.4 quake in December 2022. Suzanne Summers, the effervescent blonde actor known for playing Chrissy Snow on the television show Three's Company and who became an entrepreneur and New York Times best-selling author, has died. She was 76. Summers had breast cancer for over 23 years and died Sunday morning, her family said in a statement provided by her longtime publicist, Arcuri Hay. Her husband Alan Hamill, her son Bruce, and other immediate family were with her in Palm Springs, California. Her family was gathered to celebrate her 77th birthday on October 16th, the statement read. Instead, they will celebrate her extraordinary life and want to thank her millions of fans and followers who loved her dearly. In July, Summers shared on Instagram that her breast cancer had returned. Like any cancer patient, when you get that dreaded, it's back, you get a pit in your stomach. Then I put on my battle gear and go to war, she told Entertainment Tonight at the time. This is familiar battleground for me and I'm very tough. She was first diagnosed in 2000 and had previously battled skin cancer. Summers faced some backlash for her reliance on what she has described as a chemical-free and organic lifestyle to combat the cancers. She argued against the use of chemotherapy in books and on platforms like the Oprah Winfrey Show, which drew criticism from the American Cancer Society. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. Egypt, Israel, and the US agreed to a ceasefire in southern Gaza beginning at 6 GMT, coinciding with the reopening of the Rafah border crossing, two Egyptian security sources said on Monday, to allow in aid and evacuations of foreigners. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared to deny an agreement. There is currently no truce and humanitarian aid in Gaza in exchange for getting foreigners out, a statement from his office said. Shocked by an assault by Islamist group Hamas on towns and villages, Israel is carrying out the most intense bombardment Gaza has seen, has imposed a strict blockade, and is preparing a ground invasion. Rafah, which is on the border between Egypt's Sinai Peninsula and Hamas-governed Gaza, is the only crossing into the territory not controlled by Israel. The Egyptian sources said the ceasefire would last for several hours, but they were not clear on the exact duration. They also said the three countries had agreed that Rafah would be open until 14 GMT on Monday as a one-day initial reopening. Hospitals in Gaza faced collapse Monday as water, power, and medicine neared depletion, and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians searched for dwindling food supplies, while Israel maintained punishing airstrikes in retaliation for last week's deadly rampage by Hamas. Thousands of patients' lives were at risk, UN officials said, and mediators struggled for a ceasefire to let in aid waiting at the Egyptian border. More than a week after Israel stopped entry of any supplies, all eyes were on the Rafah crossing, Gaza's only connection to Egypt, where trucks carrying aid have waited for days to pass through. Israel forced the crossing to shut down with airstrikes on the Gaza side last week and has not agreed to reopening it for aid. Egyptian state TV and Gaza media reported Israel struck the crossing again Monday. As Israel prepared a likely ground offensive into Gaza that would mean deadly house-to-house fighting, fears rose over the conflict spreading. Israel evacuated towns near its northern border with Lebanon, where the military has exchanged fire repeatedly with the Iranian-backed Hezbollah group. Speaking to the Israeli Knesset, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned Iran and Hezbollah, "Don't test us in the north. Don't make the mistake of the past. Today the price you will pay will be far heavier." referring to Israel's 2006 war with Hezbollah, which operates out of Lebanon. The Israeli military on Monday raised the figure to 199 people confirmed to have been abducted by Hamas to the Gaza Strip in the militants' cross-border attacks, which sparked a devastating war. We have updated the families of 199 hostages, military spokesman Daniel Hagari told a media briefing, revising up an earlier figure of 155 captives. Israelis and foreigners are among those abducted in the Hamas assault on October 7. The efforts on the hostages are a top national priority, Hagari said. The army and Israel are working around the clock to bring them back. At least 1,400 people have been killed in Israel and 2,750 in retaliatory strikes on Gaza, according to tolls from officials on both sides. The Israeli military has said the bodies of some 1,500 militants were located in the wake of the attacks. An Australian regulator has fined Elon Musk's social media platform X Australian $610,500 for failing to cooperate with the probe into anti-child abuse practices, a blow to a company that has struggled to keep advertisers amid complaints it is going soft on moderating content. The E-Safety Commission fined X, the platform Musk rebranded from Twitter, saying it failed to respond to questions including how long it took to respond to reports of child abuse material on the platform and the methods it used to detect it. Though small compared to the $44 billion Musk paid for the website in October 2022, the fine is a reputational hit for a company that has seen a continuous revenue decline as advertisers cut spending on a platform that has stopped most content moderation and reinstated thousands of banned accounts. Most recently, the EU said it was investigating X for potential violation of its new tech rules after the platform was accused of failing to rein in disinformation in relation to Hamas's attack on Israel. The postponement of a Palestinian Authors' Award ceremony at the Frankfurt Book Fair due to the Israel-Hamas war triggered condemnation Monday from high-profile authors, while several Arab publishing groups withdrew. The annual fair is the world's biggest publishing trade event, bringing together thousands of book industry players and authors. After the Palestinian militant group launched the deadliest assault in Israel's history on October 7, organizers condemned the barbaric attack and said Israeli voices would be given prominence at the book fair. But it was also announced that Palestinian author Adania Shibli would not be honored with the Literaturpreis, a German award, at the fair, as had been originally planned. She was due to receive the honor for her book A Minor Detail, a work based on the real events of a 1949 rape and murder by Israeli soldiers. It is organized by the group Litprom, which awards it each year at the book fair. But the group said they had decided not to go ahead with the ceremony due to the war started by Hamas. The most senior EU leader expected to attend the Third Belt and Road Summit this week is Hungary's populist Viktor Orban, who will join guests including Russia's Vladimir Putin and the Minister of the Afghan Taliban. Western skepticism of the cornerstone of President Xi Jinping's ambition to extend China's global influence stems from China's failure to assuage concern over its intentions and whether there is in fact a gap this infrastructure would be filling, compounded by concern over a lack of transparency, analysts say. Such Western doubts have coincided with Xi's assertive leadership and a deterioration in ties over trade, human rights, COVID-19 and Taiwan. Italy, the only group of 7 nations to sign on to the scheme, is now looking for a way out. Xi is pushing to make the BRI smaller and greener, and to move from big-ticket projects like dams to high-tech ones such as digital finance and e-commerce platforms. The aim is to aid a broader push for a world order that is multipolar and gives the Global South more agency, rather than one dominated by Washington and its allies, analysts say. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 15,484.50. The NYSE Composite is increased by 160.80 points or 1.05%. Tokyo stock close price is 31,659.03. The Nikkei 225 index is decreased by 656.96 points or 2.03%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,073.81. The Shanghai index is decreased by 14.29 points or 0.46%. Hong Kong stock close price is 17,640.36. The Hang Seng index is decreased by 173.09 points or 0.97%. Bombay stock close price is 66,166.93. The Sensex index is decreased by 115.81 points or 0.17%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Leg spinner Adam Zampa returned figures of 4 for 47, while Mitchell Marsh and Josh English hit 50s to help Australia down Sri Lanka by 5 wickets for their first win at the 2023 Cricket World Cup on Monday. Five-time winners Australia bundled out Sri Lanka for 209, a total they overhauled in 35.2 overs at a windswept Ikana Stadium. The drama on the field may have been limited, but that was not the case in the stands. After rain interrupted Sri Lanka's batting, strong winds brought scaffolding and hoardings crashing down onto the seats below. With only around 3,000 people inside the 50,000 capacity ground, spectators managed to escape injury. However, Australia's reply was delayed when the umpires felt it unsafe to restart the match with high winds still a danger. Once the game resumed, opener Marsh smashed 52 and wicketkeeper batsman English made 58 as Australia registered their first win in 3 matches. Former champion Sri Lanka slipped to a third loss in as many games. South Africa crushed France's hopes of a maiden World Cup title after withstanding a Paris storm to emerge 29-28 winners of a furious and vintage quarterfinal. In a contest for the ages on Sunday, a scintillating first half ended in a brutal street fight, and the Springboks' experience made the difference against a French team playing their first knockout game since coach Fabien Galtier took over 4 years ago. The defending champions dug deeper than normal for one of their most resilient performances to knock the highly rated French out of their home World Cup in front of nearly 80,000 fans at Stade de France. 5 sports, including cricket and flag football, will be included in the 2028 Los Angeles Games after gaining the approval of the International Olympic Committee. Lacrosse, squash, and baseball softball, proposed for inclusion by LA Games organizers, also received approval at an IOC meeting in Mumbai on Monday. Each host city, under IOC rules, can request the inclusion of several sports for their edition of the Games. The 5 sports had already been given the nod from the powerful IOC Executive Board last week, with the session on Monday approving its recommendation. All 5 sports were voted in as a single package with 2 no votes from about 90 IOC members in the room. Cricket, which enjoys a massive following in India and has a fast-growing global audience, returns to the Games after more than a century. Having appeared once at the 19th century Olympics, the LA Games proposal is for a 6-team 2020 cricket tournament for men and women. The IOC hopes cricket's inclusion will activate and engage a large new Olympic audience, especially among Asian fans of the sport. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. Before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. Six-year-old Palestinian-American boy is killed in anti-Muslim attack in Illinois, authorities say. Biden weighs Israel visit after Netanyahu extends invite amid Gaza war. Biden postpones trip to Colorado to discuss domestic agenda as the Israel-Hamas conflict intensifies. Several earthquakes shake far north coast region of California, but no harm reported. Susan Summers of Three's Company dies at 76. Netanyahu denies Egyptian sources' claim of ceasefire to allow Rafah border reopening. Hospitals in Gaza face collapse as water, power and medicine run out. Israel military confirms 199 hostages abducted by Hamas. Australia fines Musk's X platform $386,000 over anti-child abuse gaps. Frankfurt Book Fair hit by Palestinian author Roe. BRI Summit, China welcomes leaders of 130 countries. Australia beat Sri Lanka by 5 wickets in ICC World Cup 2023. South Africa beat France 29-28 to reach Rugby World Cup semi-finals. And IOC approves 5 additional sports for LA 2028 Olympics, including cricket. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our website. Our website address is www.millenniumnews24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jagu TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jagu BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.